morning, Jeffrey. Top of the morning to you. How are you, my friend? Well, today it is a beautiful day out in Los Angeles, California. We've already been outside. I just got out of the shower and we're about to start our expedition for the day. Well, good morning, Lionhearts. Sorry I had to say hi to Jeffrey first, but I'm sure you understand. He is my roommate and all. Well, how are you guys today? Well, we have a great day. Breck is actually on his way over. And today, you notice I'm wearing a special pair of sunglasses. Ooh. Well, today we're doing a Patreon sunglass vlog, and who we're doing it for is Josie Smith. She wanted me to do something from Poltergeist. So today we're gonna go check out the filming locations, the house, the neighborhood from Poltergeist, and what a crazy story there is to this movie. There's actually a big secret that is maybe not so much of a secret now, but it definitely was then. This is the movie where the phrase, "They're here," came from. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. Well, Breck's here and we're about to go. And I got some mail from Renee Scribner. A power bank. Thank you so much, Renee. I definitely can use this on the trip to Rome and Naples and Pompeii. Thank you so much. First gated community. Well, take in the palm trees, my friends. We're gonna take Joff for a little bit of a walk and then we're gonna head out to, looks like it's out near Agora Hills, Simi Valley area. The old filming locations of quote-unquote Tobe Hooper's Poltergeist. I actually saw this movie when it first came out when I was a real little kid. My dad used to really be into horror movies and he used to rent them pretty much every weekend that we would stay with him, and so I had seen this, you know, when I was a little kid. I was a fan of Craig T. Nelson from Coach, so when Coach came out I knew him from this, and it was a really sad story. There's some people say a curse connected to this movie, and I'll tell you about that when we get out there. Wow, what happened here? Jeez. Look at the smiley face. Well, we decided to hit the Simi Valley section of the vlog first, but I think we're only going to do that. I don't think going and seeing the overview shots at the very intro all the way up in Agora is worth it for me today. Well, this is the street that we find ourselves in the movie Poltergeist, 1982. Produced and written by Steven Spielberg and directed by Tobe Hooper. Now, a lot of the very first parts of the movie actually take place not in this neighborhood, but the first thing that we see is we see the guy on his bicycle carrying the case of beer on his bicycle, and he actually comes right by here because the sign for the Cuesta Verde sales realty community would have been right there. And then we see him actually riding his bike down this way. Now, he's, as you can tell, he's probably had a DUI or something before because he's carrying the beer on a bicycle and the whole case is under one arm. And you actually see him riding down this street, and then all the kids with the remote control cars start chasing him and swerving in front of him, trying to make him wreck. So right here is actually where the kids would have been sitting. I think it was like 3 or 4 kids sitting right there with the remote controls. And you see them all laughing as the guy's riding his bike down through here. So right up here on the left is actually, this is the Freeling house. This is where his destination is. He makes it right up here to the front of the house, and the two remote control cars cross, and he actually wrecks, and then you start seeing all the beer cans start spraying. And I'll show you where he wrecks, right up here. Now he pretty much rides up right here and then crashes right here, right in front. And you see him pick up all those cans and struggle his way up the front steps up to the front door. So this is the house. This is the house that the whole movie takes place pretty much at. I mean, there are various scenes, but this is the centrifugal focus. Now, they didn't film the movie inside here. They just used this for all the exterior shots. So this is where Craig T. Nelson and his family encounter these ghosts that start basically taking over their house, and the story is that they're drawn to their youngest daughter Carol Ann's life force, and so the TV screen starts talking to her, and it eventually sucks her into a portal. And there's a tree in the movie that's in the backyard that we see the middle child climbing, and that's the same tree that eventually breaks in through his window and attacks him. And we see Craig T. Nelson, Stephen Frayling have to rescue him. Now, Stephen Frayling, this backstory to this movie is that he is the #1 salesman for this realty company that's built this housing development. And what he doesn't know that you find out later on is when his boss comes out here to offer him a new house in a new development, what they call Phase 5 at the top of the hill, he realizes that there's a cemetery up there, and they're gonna relocate the cemetery. And as he starts telling him this, Craig T. Nelson starts putting 2 and 2 together, and he realizes that there used to be a cemetery right here on the grounds where the house is, and that's where all this is coming from. So they have to find a way to rid this house of Poltergeist. Now, what's interesting about this movie is that there's been a long time controversy as to who directed this movie. Now, if you watch it, it is very much a Steven Spielberg looking movie. Tobe Hooper is named as the director, but it's come out now in the recent years, mainly because of John Leonetti, who was the assistant cinematographer on the movie, the assistant cameraman basically, that Steven Spielberg was the director. In those days, at the time, there were 2 reasons why this happened. For one, Steven Spielberg was already signed on to do E.T., and his contract said that while he was in pre-production with E.T., he couldn't do anything else. He couldn't do any other movies. So that was one of the reasons. The second reason was that they knew there was a potential director's strike happening in Hollywood at that time, and they were afraid that if Steven Spielberg were the director on this movie and it got shut down, the movie would be shut down, it would be in limbo. But if Tobe Hooper was the director and they went on strike, Steven Spielberg, being the producer who's on set every day, could just take over and finish the movie because of, I guess as you would say, he would have to. Now, you actually do see this in the movie. You see the family station wagon come pulling up into here, and that's where all the trash cans were. And you also see them going through there. How cool is this? Like I said, the interiors of the house are not what they used for the movie. They filmed that somewhere else, but and I guess it's laid out drastically different as well. But this movie has also kind of a curse attached to it, because they call it the Poltergeist curse. Because 2 of the actresses, within a short amount of time of making the Poltergeist movies, died. After the first one, Dominique Dunn was killed by her boyfriend, strangled in the driveway of her apartment building, or her 1-room house that she was renting. And then after Poltergeist 3, the young girl Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann, also died at the age of 11 years old. So there's been a lot of questions about this movie, but in the end, it became a very successful movie because they made a franchise out of it. There were 3 Poltergeist movies, including now they've made a remake. And at the time that it came out, it actually came out within 2 weeks of E.T., and both movies were extremely huge success. And since Steven Spielberg's company had their name attached to both of them, it was considered the summer of Spielberg. Now originally, Carol Ann, I believe, was supposed to be played and was cast to young Drew Barrymore, but then Steven Spielberg decided to put her in E.T. instead. Breck and I actually were watching this movie before we came out here, and it still holds up. It's still a really well acted movie. I like the whole cast. I mean, I knew Jo Beth Williams from Running on Empty, and then of course Craig T. Nelson from everything. I mean, he was in Coach and stuff like that. But it was just, yeah, it was just such a great movie. Plus James Caan. James Caan plays the boss of Craig T. Nelson, and he was in Return of the Living Dead. He also was in Pursuit of Happiness. Just tons of stuff. A great actor. Hard to believe this house still stands. And I mean, it's identical. They clearly haven't changed anything other than the trees. The trees have obviously grown up and they've taken over the size of the house, but it's pretty cool to see that movie. I mean, I saw that, like I mentioned early on in the vlog, I saw that movie when I was a real young little squirt. And just those scenes of like when Craig T. Nelson brings over the people from UC Irvine to investigate the house, just when he opens the door and everything's spinning inside, and to think that would have all happened right there. So cool. So Josie, since this vlog was for you and I don't want to trespass, I'm gonna go ahead and put your sunglasses right here. Right here's where the guy would have crashed on the bicycle and went up the stairs, and they all would have went up the stairs. And since they filmed some shots out front, you have to think Tobe Hooper and Steven Spielberg probably would have been standing right here as well. And if anybody doubts, or if anybody's curious about the authenticity of this story about whether Steven Spielberg was the director or not, a crazy little tidbit is that if you look hard enough on YouTube, and maybe I'll even link it, there is a short little documentary that is hard to find because it was only attached to the original Laserdisc release of Poltergeist, but you can actually see Steven Spielberg directing the movie behind the scenes. And basically, as I understand it, what they say now is that Steven Spielberg would let Tobe Hooper set up the shots, but he would adjust them. And Steven Spielberg has even been quoted as saying, you know, when I was on set, he was always on set, if Tobe didn't have a direct answer, like a quick answer right away, I would give the answer so that the production could move forward. Basically saying that if Steven Spielberg was anywhere around and there was a question asked, he was going to throw the answer out before Tobe could say anything. And apparently Tobe was cool with that. You know, in the end, he got the credit for directing it. He had a successful career on his own with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre stuff, and I guess as long as the movie's great, who really cares? Now, these two movies, E.T. and Poltergeist, were so similar as far as the way they were casted and written and directed. Steven Spielberg had both movies filmed in the same area as well. They were both actually filmed up here in Simi Valley. You can tell if you look in the movie and some of the shots, all the bricks and everything for this, all still the same, exactly the same way they were in the movie. Very little, I mean, I can't notice, other than the trees growing up, I don't really see anything that's different. And I do believe there is a pool in the back, which in the movie you know that they're digging up and installing that pool during the filming of this. Now, theoretically, the way the movie is laid out, the way the house is laid out in the movie, the stairwell should be right in the inside. It's possible that would have been the, no, I guess it would have been on the other side of the house, would have been Carol Ann's room. And even though the sun's not working with us right now, the houses across the street are exactly the same as well. I did notice now that they've repaved the driveway, because I was noticing in the movie there's like a drip of rust that goes down it, and all those bricks in the center weren't there. Pretty cool getting to see the Poltergeist house today. I do have to say, after just watching the movie, it's pretty cool. You know what else is pretty interesting is that there's another house right at the end of the block, right where the block starts, that's pretty much a mirror image of that same house. I'll show it to you. It's right down here, right where the realty sign would have been in the beginning when he comes around that corner. See, you can see that house right here. Pretty much exactly a mirror image of the same one that we just looked at. Same brick, well, a little bit different, but yeah, pretty much exactly the same. Alright, a little bit more mail. Let's check this out. Definitely from Amazon. It's definitely a book. Oh, that is awesome. Look at that. Hollywood History 1940 to 2008. Nice. I can't wait to dive into this. That being said, I think I'm pretty much good on books. I don't think I'm going to need any more, so thank you everyone. Thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you very much whoever sent this. They didn't include a note, so if you want to be thanked by your name, send me a message and let me know you got me this, and I will be happy to thank you by name. Thank you so much. So Adam, Jacob, and I came out to have tacos, and we're joined by Burger Planet. Here you go. Well, there you go, Josie. I hope you enjoy leopard print. Well, good evening, Lionhearts. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Josie Smith, I hope you enjoyed it since this was your sunglasses vlog and you requested something from Poltergeist. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, I mentioned that there was a Poltergeist curse, or some people believe there were. There are a lot of things, even beyond the two actors' deaths, that people kind of have attributed this to. Go look into it if you're curious, but there's all kinds of things. One of the reasons they say there's like a rumor or a story that they use like a real skeleton in the pool scene. There's rumors that there was a car accident and there was like a poltergeist script in the accident in the car. So go look into it. You might be taking yourself down a rabbit hole that keeps you busy the rest of the night. Have a great night, everyone. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye.